Issue 18. The first panel starts off with Sally in a wedding dress right off the bat. So obviously something's up and things aren't how they seem. Because again, they wouldn't have had Sonic and Sally agree to get married off screen. We see Antoine having been somehow caught in a rope by the ankle and held upside down. His dialogue here is interesting because it says there instead of there, replacing the TH sound with a Z. But then the word something is spelled normally right afterwards, implying that he can at least get the TH sound right sometimes. The reason this happens in the French accent is probably because of the fact that the TH sound isn't really used in French, so Antoine substitutes a Z sound for it to make it easier to pronounce certain words. Anyways, Sonic is a jerk to Antoine at first, laughing at his predicament, but he does help him pretty soon afterwards regardless, pulling him towards him. All the while still making fun of him, sending some really mixed messages. Like, does he care about him or not? Bunny cheerfully remarks on how she doesn't think the boys are taking what they're doing seriously. Not really sure why, since Antoine didn't mean to get caught up by a rope. And the exasperated look on Sally's face and her saying she agreed to go through with this and wanting to get things right the first time should make it pretty obvious that she's not really going through a wedding, if it wasn't already. We see a badnik rushing to Robotnik to tell him about Sally and Sonic getting married. I agree with him here. He has every reason to be confused. Wait a minute. That sign says there's 4 million and counting robots in Robotropolis. How big is this city? Besides, it says 0 living beings. And that's technically incorrect since both Robotnik and Snively are living there. So that would make 2 living beings. Even if Robotnik didn't consider himself a living being for some reason, there's still Snively, who he hasn't roboticized yet for some reason. Okay, the meta reason is he looks better and is more appealing as a human and not a robot. It would be boring if there was just Eggman, that's it. But logically, Eggman has no reason not to roboticize him. The robot gives the information to Eggman, and he reads a newspaper reporting that Sally and Sonic are tying the knot. Okay, why are there newspapers in this world at all? Robotropolis doesn't have free will living beings in it who would want to or be allowed to read newspapers. So I guess the people in Knothole make them. You know, with their vast supply of paper, ink, and newspaper printers. For a secret village full of hiding fugitives, sure is stacked with supplies. How did Badnik get one from Knothole anyways? Without, telling Eggman where Knothole was. Naturally, Eggman decides to invade Sonic and Sally's party, and tells the Motobug to go gather some intelligence in an abandoned barn. We cut back to the Freedom Fighters and Sonic looks serious, asking Sally if she really wants to go through with it. Well, Sally looks annoyed and says they can't stop now, and it was Sonic's idea in the first place. Sonic jokes around as Sally complains some more about him not taking it seriously. Seriously, why does she care? And Sonic unnecessarily breaks the fourth wall again after a bat-shaped shadow appears that everyone under it is fully well lit under for some reason. Sonic throws a book through the window at the bat silhouette on the other side that I guess he's just assuming is Badnik? Because otherwise, and throwing a book angrily at a normal animal just for showing up would be really out of character. How flimsy is the glass of that window that's able to be shattered by a book? The bat somehow avoids getting hurt, and we cut to Eggman giving a speech about crashing a wedding to his robots. After the robots crash the wedding, Sonic jokes that they must be from Sally's side of the family, which Sally looks annoyed at him for. But the joke isn't as funny as it could be because he looks serious, as if he somehow actually thinks this. Usually Sonic jokes with a smile. At one point, a bird Mobian complains to the robot to stop, saying this is a holy sanctuary and they're desecrating centuries of tradition. First off, this is kind of weird to see in a Sonic-related thing, the words holy and desecrating and all. So much for escapism. But two, why the hell is he bothering to yell at robots? He's just gonna get their attention to get himself in trouble. Coconuts is with an army of badniks, and they're all ordered to make sure no one will leave the barn. I do kind of like Coconut showing up in more than just one issue and being more of a regular character, even if his personality is just the same as any other of Eggman's robots. And all he's got going for him is his design. I mean, all he cares about is impressing Eggman. That's kind of like he can make a plan on his own, but other than that, why would a swapbot even ask for Antoine's money in the first place? Not only is this apparently a world where money has no value, but he's a robot, and all he wants to do is capture him. That line makes no sense and breaks the immersion. And Antoine lampshading it doesn't help. If the writer knew it didn't make any sense, he shouldn't have even put it in the comic. Sonic saves Antoine by dropping a sandbag on him from above. Sonic saves Antoine by dropping a sandbag on the robot from above. I think it's pretty sweet how both of them are smiling at each other after that, with Antoine showing actual appreciation and respect for Sonic for once. And then we get another nice action scene where all the SWAT bots get destroyed by Sonic. And when Eggman shows up, we see Sally being allowed to be a badass for once. Way above Eggman, she cuts the rope and brings down the curtain on him. Well, badass was an exaggeration there. She just gave him some very minor slapstick, but at least it's something. And then suddenly it's revealed that there was a crowd in front of Sonic the whole time that gives him an applause as the spotlight shines down on him, revealing that Eggman hadn't read all the newspaper. It makes sense that he would only read the headlines. Sonic and Sally run a play all along. It makes way more sense that the newspaper is reporting on them having a play than the newspaper actually saying that they were getting married like I assumed. That would be some pretty tabloid-worthy fake news there. I just wish it was more clearly explained why Sally and Sonic decided to put on a play to begin with. I was expecting at least one line about how they wanted to boost morale for the people at Knothole by showing them all firsthand how easily Sonic can humiliate Eggman and his army. But they didn't even do that, making this whole plot seem arbitrary at first glance. At the end, Sally practically throws herself at Sonic and acts like she had been injected with some Amy Rose DNA. I get that she's getting tired of keeping her crush subtle after so long, but still. And I like how Sonic runs away like he would with Amy, explaining that since he thinks he's such a great catch, Sally will have to catch him first, meaning I guess he wants her to work harder to earn him. Shouldn't he just be grateful that he has a girl going for him at all? Well, I guess he is arrogant. The next story reveals that Rotor has been running tests on the White Orb in his free time. The White Orb that we saw in the previous issue. Wait, why the hell isn't this story first if it continues the story of a previous issue? One would think from the previous story that they had just completely forgotten about that cliffhanger. But anyways, Rotor's welding the orb, well, not just him, but also Sonic, Tails, and Sally have welding goggles on for protection. That's pretty smart of them. Who's this random woman? She seems like a royal servant of Sally from the Tids there and calling her princess. And Sally runs off in a hurry while Rotor explains that the white orb is a force field protecting what's inside from being seen. So this creates intrigue about it. Now we get a heartwarming moment where Sally spends time with her childhood teacher in her last moments of life. The reason this works, despite this being the first time we've ever seen her, is because she's presented in a quick flashback montage as a lifelong mother figure to Sally, making her very sympathetic and relatable. In fact, this is looking like she was more of a mother to her than her actual mother was, probably because she was so busy as the queen and all. So for once, you have a really good reason to sympathize with Sally and feel sorry for her as she's losing someone so close to her, even if we don't know why. Apparently, Sally danced with Sonic on the day of her commencement ball. Again, Sonic, a commoner. Okay, well, fine, whatever. I guess they were apparently childhood friends now. Did they go to the same school together? Is that how they met? I just realized, they've been making such a big deal out of Sally's father being missing thanks to Robotnik and then wanting to find the king, but we never hear any mention to the queen, Sally's actual mother. That's pretty weird. Isn't she equally missing? Wouldn't it be just as much of a priority for them trying to find her? Sally takes the ceremonial acorn from her in a creative, spunky way that makes her look pretty likable. And it makes her mother figure proud. I guess because she's so fond of her and who she is. And as she stares into the sunset looking sad, being all alone because she doesn't want to look weak in front of her friends, we see Sonic actually comfort her in a surprisingly profound and poetic way, both of them showing some real depth and humanity. These are the kinds of moments that we need to have in Sonic stories in general in fact, and to get the audience more genuinely attached to the characters, more than any typical Saturday morning cartoon episodic plots could ever do. It is kind of underwhelming that the story just ends without really doing anything more with the whole white orb we see in the previous issue, and instead takes a curveball, instead throws you a curveball with a brand new story. But oh well. Both these stories were written by Mike Kantarovich and Ken Penders. This was a pretty alright issue, especially the second story in it because it was surprisingly touching. I wasn't expecting, well I guess I kind of was, but this is a complete stranger who just appeared in this one issue, and they still managed to make you care about her. The first story was just harmless fun, Sonic and Sally putting on a play to lure Eggman to them. I just really wish they had bothered to explain what the purpose of them doing that was, because without the explanation of boosting morale to the audience, of boosting morale to the other people in Knothole, it feels completely pointless.